Hi, Henny, how are you? It's Teknikolour. I have a speed build in The Sims 4 for you today, and this one is a vacation rental that I made in Sulani. So if you didn't know, I actually do my legacy challenge around the world's legacy over on my Twitch channel every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And right now we're on Generation 7. And my legacy heir, Jet Wyndham, he is not really supposed to be likable. His kid is going to end up growing up to hate him. In fairness, he is a celebrity actor who really has grown up to really care about only himself. And he also basically started his marriage to his husband, who he had this kid with, cheating. So he's not really a great guy. But his son, August, or Gus, is going to grow up and want to leave all of that behind. And he is supposed to have a lot of really nice memories of vacationing with the family in Sulani. So I needed to make a vacation rental. And quick. So I created this place and I wanted it to be a little more on the modern side just because I wanted to be a place that would appeal to Jet, the celebrity, but also I wanted it to be a place that would be still kind of secluded and a little away from everything, and enough of a place where it felt kind of like a haven to Gus. So this is what I came up with, and it took me an extremely long time to figure out what I wanted this place to look like. All I really knew was that I really wanted to have there be spots in it where the ground, where the floor was visible through to the water below using that island living tile. And I used it a fair amount. I used it in the living room, which you'll see later on. And I have this sort of indoor-outdoor space right now that will get expanded a little bit later on, where you can kind of see straight through to the backyard. So you can see straight through the house, basically. And it acts as a walkway at one point. And it's also a living room, like a different living room, like more, I guess the other living room that has those tiles in it is more of like the formal get together living room. And this is more of like a TV or family room. It's going to be a small space that's kind of hovering above everything. I was very excited to have this build be very open and very airy because I wanted it to be that way from the start. I just really didn't know what I was doing. So you're going to have to bear with me. I'm moving walls all over the place. The floor plan changes a whole bunch. I actually cut a lot out of this because at one point I even moved the entrance to the complete other side of the building. So I was very indecisive. So thankfully I didn't do this on stream, so nobody had to watch this in real time but me. But I ended up spending, I think it was 5.5 hours on this build, which is actually not a lot of time for me. I was very surprised when I got into the editing stage and I was like, oh, I didn't spend as much time on this as I thought I did, because it felt like it was taking forever. But this one just came together pretty easily. I like how the entry is super open and you could see right in because the glass windows, the door itself is just solid and very large. So it's kind of like opening you up into this expansive, like 2-floor place. And there is these big fish tanks that you can see just a little further in. And that's kind of like the backsplash for the kitchen. And then behind that is that formal living room where the floor is essentially just glass looking down into below. I wanted it to be a place that felt very modern, but also very soothing and like with nature, if that makes sense, because I wanted this to be that haven for Gus but I also wanted it to be a place that Jet would also enjoy and want to spend time with his family, which he normally doesn't. He's very hands off, and it's not like him. Again, he's not really a great guy. But I've never actually built in Sulani for myself. I think I did maybe one. I think I might have done a shell challenge here in Sulani. But as far as I'm aware, I've never really built here before. Like, ever. And you might be surprised by that, especially if you've been following me for a while, because you will have realized that I had written the Little Mermaid challenge. And I actually did that legacy challenge myself. And that was to learn The Sims. And it's so interesting now because the day that I'm filming this is actually The Sims' 25th birthday. I'm looking at the countdown right now, and there's 9 minutes to go until the 24-hour live stream officially starts. And I'm excited, and I'm gonna have to edit through it. I don't know, but there's a lot to be excited about with The Sims. And what's coming in the future, I'm very hyped by. But it just felt very perfect to go back to Sulani because that is where my mermaids lived. This is where I held the Little Mermaid challenge, because really, where else would you? And it was a long challenge. I don't think people realize how much it was, especially at the beginning, for a newer player to use it to essentially learn gameplay. Ooh. I didn't actually build my very first castle for my Sims. So the first household was actually by Rivendell Star on the gallery, and it was King Triton's castle. Yes, the one underwater that y'all are familiar with. But then my boyfriend actually asked if he could build Prince Eric's castle, which is where Ariel moves into when they get married, and then also towards the end game of this legacy challenge. And my boyfriend asked if he could build it, and he is an actual architect, so how could I say no? I did have to supervise. As a Little Mermaid super fan, I was like, nope, this can't go there. Nope, that doesn't look right. Nope. Oh no, that's perfect. Don't change anything. So I was probably a lot to deal with. But I loved it. He made Prince Eric's castle, and it just looked perfect for the movie and then for my Sims, and it did everything that I needed it to. And that is essentially how I started The Sims. So I first started playing The Sims, and I didn't really know how. So I wasn't building yet, and that was kind of all I had. I had other people's builds. And I also remember feeling so weird and kind of insecure because I wasn't sure, like, this was somebody else's build, but like, can I change this? Or like, can I make it my own kind of? Because I don't really like the way that this particular thing looks. And I don't really know, like, should I change that or not? I always felt so awkward about it, but I mean, it's fine. And I just remember I didn't even have all of the packs that I needed for that build for King Triton's castle. So I think I basically just had maybe 1 or 2 packs from it. And the rest kind of just filled in the blanks. I think there was supposed to be like a spa in there for the mermaids to get their hydration, but I worked around it because my mermaids basically just slept in the kind of indoor pool, which was not really a pool. It was kind of just their house. I don't know. It was very strange. It was very strange. And I will say, as much as I loved playing the Little Mermaid challenge, I am thoroughly enjoying my Around the World Legacy Challenge because I have gone through so many generations. Like, I started out in Growing Together's World, San Sequoia, and we ended up having the perfect little family, and then we moved to Britechester, and then from Britechester to Henford-on-Bagley to Brindleton Bay, Glimmerbrook, San Myshuno, and now we are living in Delso Valley. And then next is going to be Sulani. And what's very interesting about it is Gus doesn't really want to be rich and famous. That's not really part of his life plan. He is going to be a conservationist. And he's basically going to be the complete opposite to his dad. And I have been very lucky because of the way that I wrote this challenge with my boyfriend, and I use my money wisely, that I have basically just been able to accrue more and more and more simoleons. And Gus is not going to get it. Gus basically just gets a set amount of money, and that's what he has to live with. And I am probably gonna have like a tiny home or just like a little tiny cabin on the beach or something. And that is definitely not how I lived in Sulani the first time. The first time I lived in Sulani, I had a castle on the biggest lot. And I never knew where any of my Sims were. I had to like fully zoom out, look around for people. It was hard to keep track of all of those Sims, and there were a lot of them. And this one is going to be very different, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's very strange because it's not something that I was looking forward to. I think because when I build, I tend to build in excess. Everyone who's been following my channel for a while and like knows my build is like, yeah, Tech, you use every single pack, which I do. But I don't know. I think I'm nervous for Sulani because the Sulani build, like that one for my legacy heir, Gus, is going to be really difficult because it's going to be small, and none of my builds have really been small, and it has to be kind of rejecting all of the things that I've basically been loving as part of all of my builds. He's going to severely pare everything down. So he's not going to have much, but he's also not going to live like his grandmother, Gemma, did in the city in San Myshuno. He's not going to be living where she had like a small apartment, because she still really had money and she could basically afford anything that she wanted. I don't know. He's basically just going to reject this lavish lifestyle. And this is kind of where Luella, who is my Generation 4 Sim, comes into play, because I could not say goodbye to her. So she is my immortal Sim. And she's kind of going to be like, I don't know, kind of like that silly old lady who lives in Brindleton Bay and is always adopting pets. And she's a musician, and she's kind of lived every life. Like, she grew up on a farm in Henford-on-Bagley, and then she lived in suburbia in Brindleton Bay. She lived in San Myshuno. And she also lived in not Britechester. Where did she live? She lived in Glimmerbrook. Oh my God, that like escaped me. But she's basically lived everywhere. She's lived a very lavish life, and she did not move to Delso Valley, and that was intentional. She is, I think, aware that Jet has become kind of not really the black sheep of the family, but he kind of rejects family. He is really in it just for himself, and he's very selfish, and he provides for his family, but he doesn't really love his family, and he is essentially going to end up alone. And it's really hard because I'm growing attached to my Sim, Jet Wyndham, but Gus is gonna be like the changing point, because Luella, as much as I love her, has contributed towards a lot of that, because she's basically where the Wyndham family has made its fortune. So it's very interesting to make this vacation rental that is supposed to kind of signify family and togetherness with family, and just make it a place where, I don't know, my Sims can kind of just get away from their world and relax and spend time here, enjoy themselves, enjoy family, maybe do like puzzles or something. And it's gonna mean everything to Gus, because he's gonna love family, and he's gonna find out as he's older that it didn't mean the same thing to his dad. Maybe one of them, but definitely not Jet. And things, I think, from that stage on in this legacy challenge are going to be very different, and I'm excited. It's also interesting because Jet has been my first bad boy. Again, he's not a good guy, but like I have to like cheat on people. I have to like not be a great friend or a great family member, and it's hard for me. I don't really like being bad in The Sims. I like my Sims to be happy, and I don't know, it's just very interesting. And it was so wild to design a build in my head and then in The Sims that represents both of those things. So there's, on one end, Jet Wyndham, who is just everything wrong with the family. And then, of course, we've got August, or Gus, who is kind of like the changing of a season. And he is going to care more about nature. He's going to care way more about family. He is going to learn from Luella and learn from his own life. And there's so much kind of at stake between these two generations for my legacy to really be believable. And it's the first time I'm playing it. Like, I wrote it, but this is kind of where it starts. And there is an end right now, and I'm considering adding other packs to it, which was always my idea. But now I'm not really sure, because I'm sure more packs are going to come out. And Life and Death, that sort of feels like the perfect ending. So I don't really know. What other legacy challenges have you played? Have you started the Around the World's legacy challenge? Are you into it? Do you watch it over on my Twitch? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to know more about the rules for the challenge, I'll drop my link to the rules down below in the description. And I'll also put on the Sims Legacy Hub, I actually have my family tree on there. So you can see the Wyndham family tree and kind of learn who Jet is and everyone else. And just see how everyone's connected. There's been a lot of pets. There is an immortal cat who will be moving with Gus. Which is going to be a huge hit to Jet, because he didn't really take care of Pickles, the immortal cat. It's so strange to really have so much in store and in plan for these two generations, more specifically Jet's, because this is like the first time that I kind of know where my Sims family and their life story is going to end. Whereas most of my Sims, they kind of can build their future as they go. Whereas Jet doesn't get the happy ending. And that's always been intentional. So I hope this heir in your legacy, if you ever play this legacy challenge, doesn't become your favorite, because I'm kind of, I like Jet. I want to make him better, but I have to stop myself. It's a very, very strange feeling. And I don't know if my stream, like chat from Twitch, I don't know if they fully understand how difficult it is to make a character that, like every other in this family, you're supposed to like, you're supposed to root for, and then suddenly you really can't. It's really weird. I've also been doing a lot of very, very interesting things with my builds, and I got to do something very fun this time with fish tanks, which is similar to stuff that I've done before, but I really wasn't thinking when I started making this, and I should have made the fish tank a little bit larger. But I basically have 4 aquariums. I think it's 4, just all next to each other in a row. And that's the backsplash for the kitchen. And then I added all these rocks and sea stuff and added the fish in. And it kind of just looks like a huge fish tank. And it was very interesting because I've been putting fireplaces in basically all of my builds. And this last fireplace that I made has probably been the most exciting to build with. However, this next build, I don't think is going to have a fireplace because we're going to be in Sulani. We're not going to need it. But anyway, we are basically at the end of this speed build. So why don't I pop into the game and I'll give you a little bit of a tour. So here we are in Sulani on the Sapphire Shores lot. And this is what I came up with. As you can see, there are 2 balconies that you can use. The first one is kind of right off of the living room. And then the second one is right upstairs and off of the kind of dining bar area. You come in to the front entrance and there is a place to dance. There's music. There's more than enough places to look out. There is the aquariums and the kitchen. And then right behind that is the formal living room. And that looks down into below. Over here is the little walkway to get over to the bedrooms. And here is kind of like an open space for children or like multiple people to spend here. And there is a big bathroom over here. Upstairs, however, is the kind of like primary bedroom with its own private balcony and their own private bathroom as well. Going upstairs from the main entrance is the sort of dining room bar space. And then there is the kind of living room using the new Casanova Cave Kit television, which I just think that this looks really cool. I would probably be too afraid to sit here and watch TV. And there is the whole build. If you liked this video and you would like to see more content like this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. But I will catch you in the next video or over on my Twitch channel. But I'll see you later. Bye-bye.